Welcome to MPE TV, live here from the MPE here in Berlin. My name is Rogier Roepen van der Voort and I'm the CEO of PCN. And I'm joined today by Mike Goodenough, who's the Global Head of E-Retail at Worldline Global. Let's talk a bit about the new era of digital payments. Obviously you head up E-Retail within Worldline on a global scale. What does that look like within the e-retail space, that new era of payments?
Yeah, it's always a new era, right? It's always something new. No, I think it's super exciting with both those elements. I think if you're kind of even a little bit of a payments geek, you see the last couple of years a lot of technological changes with payments, a lot of innovation. And you see that with e-retail as well. So you combine the two together and it's kind of super exciting. And I think particularly in e-retail, you see the effect of the changing world. So, we talk about the new world, maybe this is the new world, but I think the predictions of how fast e-retail would grow has changed. So we definitely have seen that acceleration of consumer demand during the COVID period. There's been a dip in the last months, but if you look at where we are, I think that the analysis and the analysis that we've done before has been revised. I mean, this is now a different trajectory, particularly with the e-retail, particularly online. And I think that the period of time where individuals could not physically shop, you saw an acceleration of technology. So I think from what I've seen over the last few years anyway, especially with the big brands. So I think the goal of Worldline is to take very big international brands and help them to expand globally. I mean, that's kind of our mantra, and that's complex. So what we do is reduce that complexity. And during this period, of course, there was more of a hunger for these merchants to accelerate.
What are some of the technologies or maybe use of payments that you've seen being accelerated over that COVID period that before were difficult to get traction with or just weren't accelerating as much?
Yeah, so I think partly that was the need to expand geographically. So this is driven by consumers. So during this period, I think, and the word I use a lot is trust. So what drives consumers to be purchasing goods across border? And a lot of time it's because the big brands themselves have moved to a direct-to-consumer model. So if you look at, Nike, Adidas, other big brands that historically would have used marketplaces or, other vehicles to sell their products, they've gone into their own app, right? They have their own app and they've gone direct to consumer. And this is just accelerated anyway. So that trust in the brand, the ability of companies like ours to be able to localize the payment experience, so to offer local payment methods, to be able to ensure that local languages, the nuances of that country is all being adopted into the application, it removes a lot of barriers. So this is one of the things that we've seen, that acceleration. And when you add that with countries such as, in Latin America, Turkey, South Korea, these are exploding markets. So merchants, in order to keep this growth, are looking at these next markets, like where can we go and keep the growth that we've seen over the last years.
Interesting. So if you now look at, we're out of the COVID, people go back in stores. Do you see e-retail also being implemented in stores, more on the offline space or the other way around?
Yeah, well, so I think that's a really good question. So I think during COVID, what we saw was a kind of an increased demand for a physical shopping experience. So yeah, you're not going to reproduce that specifically, but we saw a big drive of social commerce. So not necessarily touching and feeling the goods, but how do I have that shopping experience with my friends? Which is something that's part of the element of going into a store, which makes it very interesting. And I think McKinsey predicts that, by 2025, then 20% of all e-retail transactions will take place during a live shopping event. And that's like something, and then you move on. This is automotive, it's food, it's not just fashion and beauty, right? We're going to move into a kind of a much more broader acceptance for something where you can demonstrate and sell at the same time.